You to center in. Let your body move gently until you feel comfortable in your seat, here in this space or wherever you are joining us from. And as you come into awareness of your breath in and out, that ebb and flow. Let the invitation be of awareness. Nothing to fix or change. Just coming into awareness of your breath moving. Let your eyes soften or close. And see if you can begin to notice what happens when a group of hearts are connected. And the rhythm of our breath and our heartbeat, our connection, we become entrained to each other's rhythms. We are all joined together. And before taking a moment in just some quiet, I invite you to hear the words of this Unity World Peace Prayer. The spirit of love unites every heart, blessing the planet with peace. We are peacemakers, one in the love of the source of all love. With hearts united, we establish harmony and peace in our own lives and in the world around us. We are joined together in our hearts, our minds, joined in friendship, joined through those moments of sorrow and joy that bring us together, belonging to each other. May that peace wash into you, through you, and live as you. And so it is. And as you're ready, gently, slowly, let your eyes open if they've been closed. And just come back fully present to now. Thanks, Raj. So I want to say a thank you before I begin to Jerry and Pete, who took over the helm last week. On Sunday, I started my 4 Unity classes, and I knew with Roger at Old Songs that all of you were in really great hands and hearts with Jerry and Pete. So thank you for the gifts of yourselves that you shared so beautifully last week, always, but really taking the lead last week. So thank you for that. And I did take 4 classes, and I'm going to try not to give you 4 different talks about them this morning. You're welcome. The classes were the 12 Powers Reimagined with Myrtle and Charles. It was awesome. Beyond Self-Care, Recovering the Art of Caring for a Human Life, The Cost of Increase, Ethics, Power, and Prosperity, and The Myth of Neutrality, Power, and Belonging in Ministry. I was really tired by Friday night. So what I want to start with in the Happy Interdependence Day, I guess Unity's Daily Word and I had shared a thought about it's the day after Independence Day, but we're really aware of interdependence on each other and with each other. So that's the title of my talk today. But what I want to start with, and again, you will hear more about those classes over the weeks to come, but what I want to start with is actually the lens of what we began with in that 12 Powers class. Reimagining those 12 powers, not necessarily as only connected to maybe how you learned them through your study in years past, that they're connected to body centers and maybe the 12 apostles. But we were asked to really think about them as capacities that are innate in us, that we then are invited through our daily living to express them. Sometimes we do that easily and well, and sometimes we come up against a wall and it feels challenging. So those lenses that we looked at are the lenses that I want to bring us with into this sense of interdependence, how we are woven together. So the first lens is through the head, our mind. How do I understand this word interdependence? What does that mean? How do I understand just the meaning of that word and how that has shown up for me or what I think about it in the world? So that's the head, using our mind. Are there some assumptions about the word interdependence that I might have to look at that I have? Maybe you see that word very differently than I see it. And how do our assumptions sometimes bump up against each other in that classic 7th grade way that it makes a this out of you and me? I taught 7th grade for a long time. They loved that. The head. And then our heart. What does interdependence feel like as a lived experience? What are the emotions and qualities, the experience of my life that helps me understand from this heart position what interdependence is for me and what it might be in the world? So the head, the heart, and now the hands. How does interdependence become visible? What does it look like when we say love is an action word? What does it look like when we, like the daily word said, that we sometimes give comfort and sometimes we need to receive comfort? What does that look like when we put it into action? So the hands represent how are we living it? And then the soul. What is the deeper truth about human nature, about our expression of life here on this planet, in this moment? How does this word, this concept, how does it help us co-create interdependence in a healthy way? So looking at all of those powers through this lens of the head, the heart, the hands, and the soul, and really asking, what is that all about for me? How is that showing up? But I felt compelled to really look at this interdependence, because it's also related to another theme, that myth of neutrality, the difference between we can welcome everybody in, but have we created a space where deep belonging happens? And depending on where we are sitting in this community, where we show up in this community, how do we take both responsibility for creating that, and how do we take the risk to say, if we don't feel like we belong, can we bring that to somebody who might help us work through that? There's a lot of work that goes on in creating a healthy community where our lives and our passions and our experiences are interwoven. We have out on the bulletin board, and it floats around, I think it's on our website, we agree and disagree in love. Right? That's a beautiful thing to aspire to, and sometimes, I don't know about the ecosystem of your life, but sometimes that is really challenging. I know it is in the ecosystem of my life. And then we bring all of that from our community in prayer and service here and in the world. So what is at stake on July 5th, 2026, after the fireworks, after the picnics, after the parades? What is at stake both in our community and in the country and around the world in growing a sense of we're part of something greater? And how we live affects people everywhere. And we have a set of values in our country that we have sometimes lived in a shining example of that and sometimes not. Just like in our own lives, we live a shining example of who we are, showing up in our true beauty, and sometimes our shadow is right there. Our human experience here. Terry Tempest Williams is, I think, a former Mormon. She's a beautiful writer. One of my favorite books I've ever read is When Women Were Birds, but this is not from that. But she has some questions that she connects to democracy, which is at its heart all about living in community, in a civic community. And I think her questions resonated with me because it also says everything to me about how do we live with each other in this community, in our own families, in our intimate friendships, and in all of those circles where we are connected beyond this community. So she writes, the human heart is the first home of democracy. It is where we embrace our questions. Do you know that Rilke poet, the line, rest in the questions? We embrace our questions. Can we be equitable? Can we be generous? Can we listen with our whole beings, not just our minds, and offer our attention rather than our opinions? I would say also our presence, that word we use, our attention, but our attention is a sign of just being present with each other. Can we stay there even when it's uncomfortable? And do we have enough resolve in our hearts to act courageously, relentlessly, she says, without giving up, trusting our fellow citizens to join with us, trusting our fellow community members, our family, to show up with and for each other, even when it's uncomfortable, to hold that tension between who we aspire to be and how we sometimes live that imperfectly. The gift of interdependence is that we mirror that for each other. The class that I took about self-care was not a to-do list like go get a massage. Not a bad idea. Meditate every day. Not a bad idea. The starting point of that class was what message did we take in over time that made it seem that we had to earn nourishing our own lives. Oh, I see some heads nodding. So that's how we care for ourselves, is we don't wait to think we've earned our rest. We don't wait. I'm saying these words because boy howdy do I need to hear them. Just to be clear, we don't have to earn the ways that we nourish our inner life. We also don't have to earn the ways we nourish each other in community. That if our starting point is how are we cooperating? This is a Myrtle Fillmore question through the lens of Reverend Kelly Isla, who's not only fangirling about Myrtle for years, but she's really working to bring the theology and the message and the questions of Myrtle to the fullness of the unity message. How, Myrtle asks, am I cooperating with capital L life? Am I cooperating with it or am I fighting it? What is capital L life trying to nourish or grow in me despite struggle or discomfort? And so in that question, that starting place, what keeps me from knowing enough of my own value that I need to take care of that inner life, that I am mirroring that for you and allowing you to mirror that to me? And how do I then look at you in your beauty and say, when was the last time you took time to care for what life wants to grow in you? We are all in this together. And so that interdependence, that interwoven, we believe in oneness, right? That's one of our capital T truths. We are all one. There is only one presence and one power. And yet in our human living out of that truth, we forget. And we need each other to be sacred reminders of what our hearts already know. So in this community, how do we move from that warm welcome? I think we're really good at that. Oops, sorry. It's coming off my ear. We're really good at that warm welcome. Can we move from that warm welcome to really growing a sense of deep belonging, where we foster the times that we come to know each other in our vulnerability, in our realness, knowing and trusting the shine that is real. As I look around this room, I see your beauty. And I know that we reflect that for each other. I also know that it can feel like one more pressure to always show up as your shine. And so when you have a moment of feeling less than shiny, do you feel safe here? Can you be real here? Can we be genuine here? And always asking ourselves, how do we invite in the whole of us? What is life longing to nourish in us, to bring forth as us, to nurture and nourish in each other? As a country, as a community, in my own family, it's interesting to have adult kids and to be able to have a chance to look with them at those moments in family life when they were growing up that were real magic, where the shine of who we were as a family was genuine and real. But to also have a chance as they accept their adult need to grow from the soil in which they were raised, that we can look at those places of hidden hurts and bring them forward in the light. If we can't reveal it to ourselves and to each other, we can't work together on that healing. And so my invitation is for us as a community to do our own work always. You know, I say this a lot because, again, I know I need to hear it a lot. We do our own deep spiritual work, bringing to light the parts of ourself that we maybe have exiled. Oh, I don't want to look at that part of me. But we bring that to the light, and we bring that in our wholeness. And then we show up as real as we can, and we help each other to grow the world that we want to see. That deeper truth that we know is the truth. That all beings are made in the image and likeness of a divine creative force that is alive in us, as us. And we depend on each other to know and live that truth. So instead of asking maybe why me when something really challenging happens, I'm trying to train myself to ask, what now? Do I need to ask for help? Do I need to reach out to someone for comfort or to comfort someone who has a similar concern? And so together we lift each other up. So shifting that question to what does life want to nourish in me and as me shifts away from judging, from I've failed, if only I had affirmed or manifested that better, I'd have it all together, into really asking, what am I co-creating? So that when I then hold that vision, that what I long to manifest, I am going towards with my whole being. Can we be in that mess, gift, soup, ocean, love together? What do you say? Yeah? Happy Interdependence Day. Dennis isn't here to say it, but I do love you all madly, and I'm very glad to be back.